Into the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Do you support those wars? Yeah, it is hard to say. I mean, if we need to protect our freedoms and go get the terrorists, then let's do it. But if we were lied to about the dropping of these buildings, this massive total destruction of these buildings, then we need a new investigation. And if that investigation says no, these buildings didn't come down due to fire and jet plane impacts. They came down due to explosive controlled demolition. That would mean it would be some sort of an inside operation, which presumably would have been, whose object would have been to manipulate us into getting into these wars, in which case we shouldn't be in them at all. Would you agree with that? It is hard to say. Take a look at it, see what you think. And I hope we've raised some concern, at least, to the issue.
Definitely.
Cool.
May I ask a question?
Oh, yeah.
If I may hold one of your flyers. Can you clap your hands 10 times in a second?
I'll count 1. Oh, you didn't make it.
I didn't make it.
See, there's not 10 floors in the Twin Towers. There's 110 floors in the Twin Towers, each of them. And yet, in 1 second, 10 of those floors were destroyed. In another second, the next 10, all the way down to the ground, such that in less than a dozen seconds, all 110 floors completely destroyed, almost as fast as I can drop this bag. And we think that doesn't happen by fire or jet plane impacts. In fact, there's evidence in the World Trade Center dust of explosives. And we want that evidence examined also.
May I ask you a question?
Yes, yes. It's right here. I'm going to give that to you since you asked. Only for our select students do we have the San Francisco press conference where ap911truth.org, our website, which you can check out too, announced to the world that we have 1,000 architects and engineers calling for a new investigation. They're not conspiracy theorists. They're technical and building professionals who are looking at the forensic evidence found at the crime scene. So we hope you'll join us.
The number's just gone up to 1,500 just the other day.
Yeah, now we have 1,500. Any more questions? Now you got the DVD.
Thank you so much.
What's your name? Richard. Great to meet you too. All right, so we'll catch up with you later. Okay, bye. Oh, hey, man.
Patrick, do you have
Yes.
so you're doing video right now?
Oh yeah, I was just filming some stuff, just different angles. I'll send it to you.
Find an outlet and see if I can charge this for just a moment.
In the exact manner like the housing project here that blew up. This whole building, 47 stories, drops like a rock in 6.5 seconds. Free fall acceleration this fast. And there's 82 steel columns in this building. Not one of them.
Here's the video. That was on 9/11.
One of those columns gave any resistance. So they told us that they were on fire. So we want a new investigation, and it's a problem because if Building 7 came down in the afternoon of 9/11, 5:20, in the exact manner of a class controlled demolition, and they're telling us this by fire, that means they're lying. And there's evidence in the in the dust of explosives. There's molten metal flowing like lava, the first responders say, in the basements of the Twin Towers and in the debris pile of Building 7. And I mean, jet fuel even and office fires cannot create molten metal. Molten iron is what it turns out to be. The first responders, cleanup workers were calling it molten steel. And so it turns out that it has the evidence of thermite in it. well, thermite is an incendiary used to cut through steel like a hot knife through butter. And so this is a real problem. I mean, even the official documents inadvertently document thermite, hot sulfur corrosion temp, which is actually thermate, and the evidence of thermite, aluminum, barium, and manganese, and iron in this debris. And then they find unignited explosives throughout the dust that landed all around lower Manhattan in a 4-inch thick blanket. This small team of international scientists find unignited particles of nanothermite composite explosives. These are particles that are small, 1,000 times smaller than human hair, of iron oxide and aluminum powder, intimately mixed, and in the perfect proportion to become thermite in these small red gray chips in every sampling they've done. This is all documented in this peer-reviewed paper. And so that, combined with the way the building came down, Building 7, which you just saw, not only that, but the Twin Towers. I mean, what does that look like to you? Is that let's show the gentleman here. Is that a collapse, or is that an explosion? Just your initial hunch.
This is an explosion.
This is an explosion, you're saying. Why do you say that?
Just because of how many particles it's just built from the top up.
From the top down, and there's an equal distribution of debris, and 90,000 tons of concrete's being pulverized in midair, and there's a lateral ejection of 98% or so of the building's structure and contents are distributed outside the footprint in a 1,400-foot radius or diameter around each of the Twin Towers. And there's 110 floors in each of these towers. Guess how many they find at the bottom after the collapse? I was looking for 50 of them, 20 of them. You don't find one of them down there. There's a 2-story pile of core columns, perimeter columns, aluminum cladding. This is a huge problem for the official story. The gravity, which we're told this is a gravitational collapse due to the fires weakening the structural steel, gravity works downward. It doesn't blow everything up and then out. So that, in combination with these explosions which you see coming out of the building in the video, I'm going to give you a DVD, 20, 40, and even 60 stories down below the collapse, the zone of destruction, you have these expulsions, explosive ejections that are 160 to 200 feet per second. They're clocked by physicists. And these are at explosive speeds. They can't just be like air coming out of the building due to some collapse. And in the top of the tower, you have 12 stories above the point of jet balloon impact. And we're told this section drove the rest of the building down to the ground, but look at the image. There are no, in the photos and videos, you don't see any section driving the rest of it down. It itself compressed in a controlled demolition, just like the Roosevelt building here on campus. And then after that, the building's tearing itself apart at free fall acceleration. So the 1,500 architects and engineers that I am here in Atlanta representing want a real investigation. We don't have any conspiracy theories. We don't know who might be responsible, but somebody is responsible, and we'll let the chips fall where they may. So I hope you'll get yourself informed, ask some serious questions of the government, the media. Why isn't this story getting out? We've been screaming about this for 5 years. You want to get this on the audio too?
Oh yeah, it's up to
Come a
you.
little closer?
Yeah.
He says, how close are we to getting an investigation? We got a ways to go, man. We've been doing this 5 years, and we have a couple of ears in Congress, but no action, no legs. We have some media interviews. I'm doing a radio interview every week, at least, and we've been on Coast to Coast AM radio. We've been on Fox News. We've been on Geraldo, but nothing seems to get picked up. So it's a tough sell because people don't want to hear this truth. What makes you open to it? You look like you're willing to listen. Not everybody is.
I mean, anything is possible.
Yeah, so you're willing to check it out. That's cool. You got the DVD. It'll blow your mind. Most people are really quite amazed about the evidence that they've not seen in the mainstream media. You know, the molten metal, the nanoparticles of thermite found in the World Trade Center dust, in these small chips, the melted steel girders, which structural engineers document. Steel fires don't melt steel, never have in an office fire. Jet fuel can't even melt steel. Only gets to be about half the temperature that steel melts. So these are the problems that we're citing that need a real investigation. I don't know what it takes, but we're giving it everything.
Hey, I hope so. Thumbs up.
Thanks, man.
That we will get some closure on that.
I appreciate the thumbs up. All right,
Check it out. Good job.
hey, we're making it happen.
Yeah.
One student at a time.
That's right. We found point parking.
What Dan says is one neuron at a time.
Exactly. We have one neuron at a time.
You want to go to the student center? Well, that's not the student
Y'all give me 10 seconds here. I've got y'all at a...
Let's do a little intro.
That's okay.
Okay, all right.
We'll give them the information too.
All right, so
Let me get y'all.
stand in front of these guys.
All right. Hang on one second. Now, I don't know how good the microphone on this thing is working in this case because, like I said, it's brand new. So, but it should get you. I'm pretty sure of it.
Okay, the closer you get, the...
All right.
We seem to be in the plaza just to the west of the School of Architecture.
Over you want.
We're here at Georgia Tech University at the plaza near the School of Architecture, trying to raise awareness with the students with We Are Change Atlanta. Mikie Smith, Jason Borland, and Patrick, Guinn, and Cameron Wiltshire. And Afua is here somewhere too. We'll have others joining us today as we begin our effort to bring the story, the truth about 9/11 to the students here. The 1,500 architects and engineers that I represent, Richard Gage, architect, AIA, we are most interested in making sure that they understand the truth about the collapse of the third skyscraper on 9/11, Building 7, which falls straight down smoothly, symmetrically into its own footprint of free fall acceleration, just like a rock falling off, a big rock, off the top of this building. That's how fast it comes down. 6.5 seconds, it's destroyed. We're told this is by office fires, normal office fires. We don't agree with that because we have evidence in the World Trade Center dust and in the debris piles of thermite and thermate and nanothermite composite explosives. So we'll be over at the nanotechnology department today as well, speaking to the faculty, the representatives, teachers, and we've got a whole lot of work to do in just a little bit of time. So we're hello, this is for you. So we also have problems with the Twin Towers. Why? Because they come down in just about a dozen seconds each. We have the evidence of explosive demolition in the Twin Towers as well, which is highlighted on our DVD, 9/11 Blueprint for Truth. We want to make sure every student who passes this Nexus today does not pass without some really important documentation for them to think seriously about. After all, 2 wars were started as a result of 9/11 and blamed on the collapses, the hijacking of those jets, running them into the building, and the destruction of these buildings, and of course the other events that happened on 9/11. If the roots of 9/11 are in question, then the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq are in question.
Okay. Got it.
How about
Okay.
we
Get